Welcome back to episode 133 of the ATD Baseball Podcast. I am in my little back room, I guess you could call it, but it feels good to be home after completing a 10-game homestand. Uh, it's I'm very tired. Luckily, I slept in a little bit today, but I'm still tired, feeling the effects of a 10-game homestand and a lot of other things that are going on in the world. But we will not mention that, and we will continue to talk about baseball. Of course, same cast of people as always, myself and Kyle. And before we get into everything that we would like to discuss today, Kyle, how are you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing as best as I can be, man. For those of you who know, I'm a teacher, so we came back for summer break a little bit, and that always sucks. But overall, I'm doing pretty good. And yeah, you kind of mentioned it. There's a lot of shit going on in the world right now, but we're gonna keep it light. We're gonna try our best to entertain you guys and keep you updated on Major League Baseball. So with that being said, I'm doing good, man. How are you?
I'm doing good, and I'm not gonna share too much of this, but Kyle, he got a new whip. This guy got like a brand new Mercedes. This is crazy. This is crazy. This guy got a brand new like Mercedes and everything. I'm like, that's crazy. He was sending me videos of him doing like donuts in the street and
Oh
stuff.
yeah.
That was incredible. That
Oh
was
yeah.
incredible. Yeah. Waking the neighbors up and everything.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's in the shop for an exhaust right now.
Yeah, I'm doing well. Tired, like I said, I just completed a 10-game homestand, and I was mentioning this to my mom yesterday. We had a lot of cool stuff, like giveaways throughout this homestand. We had gold jerseys, we had different like theme nights, and but one of the coolest things that I was able to get Saturday was an Ice Cube bobblehead bobblehead from his World Series performance before Game Two of the 2024 World Series last year. So that was really cool. And I was telling my mom this. Usually at the end of January, beginning of February, the Dodgers will release like the full or maybe half of their promotion schedule that has the different days for bobbleheads, jersey giveaways, heritage theme nights like Mexican Heritage Night and other stuff like that. And I look at them and I'm like, man, I can't wait to be there for that, or man, I can't wait to get this. And then you fast forward to June and we're flying right past all these events, and it's just crazy how fast the season is going. We're already going to be in July next week, and then here comes the All Star break. But um, completed a 10-game homestand. I'm still feeling the effects of it. I was also battling a cold, as I'm sure many of you were able to hear last week. But again, took a lot of vitamin C, a lot of gummies, and took a lot of Dayquil and Nyquil. And luckily, uh, I feel a lot better. I didn't do what I've done in the past, where I just, I feel myself getting sick, but then I just lay there. I'm like, ah, well, I'll be okay. I'll fight it, and then not do anything about it. And when I do something about it, it's too late. It's already congested all over my body and my nose, and then I'm screwed for the next week. But I didn't do that this time. I was able to fight it off, and I'm feeling a lot better. And on top of it, my Dodgers actually did pretty well. So, but we'll get into that at the end. The topics that we are going to discuss today. Kyle Raleigh, he is making a very good case uh, to now. I don't think he's going to because Judge is so damn good as well. But he's making a case to be an American League MVP finalist this season and maybe even a winner. We'll discuss that. Uh, A's finally broke ground in Vegas to build their new stadium. And of course, we got Dodgers, Yankees, but then we're also going to give our top five teams, not in the National League, not in the American League. We're going to do our top five teams in baseball. So very much looking forward to that, as I think it's now time to do that. I think it's time. We've seen enough games already. Like, we've already passed Memorial Day. We're approaching July 4th next week. I think it's time to like give just our thoughts and kind of where we see everything right now in these top five. And I would like to think that our list will be a little bit different, but who knows? You never know. But um, let's just jump right into it here. How about Kyle Raleigh? This guy is having a pretty damn good season, historical by a catcher's standpoint.
Yeah.
He is batting 276 right now, 31 home runs, which is insane. First person to reach 30 home runs in the majors, 66 home runs, and he has 77 hits. This is something we haven't seen. I believe I saw the tweet a couple days ago. I wish I could have saved it. We have not seen a season like this since um, an offensive season like this from a catcher since Salvador Perez. So that's pretty good impression. And of course, an OPS over 1,000, so incredible. But um, Kyle, do you think this is sustainable? And could he give your boy Aaron Judge a run for that MVP this year? Because that's very much in the case, I think.
Yeah, no, I mean, absolutely. He is definitely going to give Judge a run for his money. And listen, I'm going to try to be as unbiased as I possibly can here because obviously everybody knows that Aaron Judge is my guy. Now, yeah, no, what he's doing in Seattle, man, is absolutely wild. It's crazy stuff, and it's stuff that like he is literally breaking Mariners records, and like it's not just he's not in conversation just with Mariners catchers. He's Ken Griffey, man, like Tino Martinez, guys like that. Like he is starting to make a push for a lot of these Mariners records, and he's doing it at such a high clip, man. I mean, 276 for a catcher. That's I feel like that's above average, But obviously, the 31 homers is what everybody grabs at. He has 66 RBIs. He even got 9 stolen bases in there, man. OPS over 1,000, like you touched on. Do I think he's going to give Judge a run for his money? Absolutely. But here's the thing. I think Judge's overall game is where Judge has the edge. Don't get me wrong. Do I think Cal Raleigh could finish the season with more homers than Judge? Yeah, I do. I do think that part. Um, if I had to give, just my guess, my educated guess, I'm gonna say Cal Raleigh finishes second place for AL MVP behind Judge. Now, I think the homers are going to be close. I think he could beat Judge out if he continues his pace, but I think Judge's overall.
As Judge just hit a home run right now
I
again.
was gonna say Judge just hit number 28 in Cincinnati. So that's what I mean though. Like, they're 3 homers apart, but then when you look at Judge's stats, that's where it gets a little different. And kind of hard for Cal Raleigh to keep up that pace. Judge is batting 369, 28 homers, 62 ribbies, and a OPS over 1,000 as well. Um, Judge's average, I think if Judge keeps that average up, man, I mean, I think that's what's going to push him over the edge. And he's still playing elite defense like he always does, man. Um, Aaron Judge is a very hard player to catch up with or be in the same conversation with, but Cal Raleigh's doing a damn good job at it. Um, yeah, so to answer your question, yeah, absolutely. I do think he could definitely give Judge a run for his money, but I think at the end of the year when everything's said and done, I think Judge takes home another MVP award. But overall though, Kyle Raleigh, what he's doing for the Seattle team, I think is honestly just it's ridiculous. And real quick, if I would stop getting Twitter notifications, Seattle's 39-37, 5 games back of Houston. When you look, this has been the same song and dance for the Mariners over the last couple of years. We've touched on this time and time again. Um, they do not put a offense together that is enough to compete in the AL West. That's what we hate. We keep talking about their pitching and how good it is, but then when you look at the offense, it just doesn't add up. But Kyle Raleigh is literally changing this offense for them. He's getting guys behind him, and he's kind of taking that leadership role a little bit over there in Seattle. So for the fact that they're 5 games out in, I think this Seattle team, I think I predicted them third or fourth, possibly fourth. But overall, though, I think Seattle's doing very good because of Cal Raleigh, and I think I can't say enough about that. What he's doing this year is honestly just ridiculous, and it's good to see, man. It really is. This reminds me of obviously Cal Raleigh. I would take his season over, but This reminds me of the Gary Sanchez when he first came up. A power first catcher who is decent behind the plate, but he does everything and more with his bat. That is what Kyle Raleigh is, and he's such a joy to watch, man. He really is. He's pumping so much fire into the sport and into Seattle. I think it's so cool, man. So good for him, and I hope he keeps it up. Truly,
Absolutely, and I have the two players' stats in front of me. Thank you, Baseball Reference. Yeah, Judge pretty much leads everything, every category except home runs, RBIs, and stolen bases.
hmm
So overall, yeah, Judge is probably the better player this year. But hey, Cal Raleigh's um, making a very good case on, and on top of it too, I think a lot of people forgot about this. He just got extended too. I think
yes,
earlier before this season, if not during the off season. So starting to make catcher big bucks, and so far he has lived up to it. He has lived up to it, and yeah, like you said, it's good, man. We get so wrapped up with Judge and Otani all the time. It is nice to see guys like Cal Raleigh and maybe these smaller markets to perform, and I'm so
absolutely.
glad that now part of it is because Cal Raleigh's been so good that you have to mention him and you just can't avoid talking about him. But it's nice to see too from a smaller market like Seattle a great player like putting up a performance like this, and in a position like catcher too, where it's
It's
not the
not easy.
easiest position, man. You're having to catch almost every starter, and you have to manage a game too. So it's uh, it's super impressive, and hopefully he can keep it up. And he's currently on pace for 60 home runs.
Yeah,
Over under? Do you think he gets to that 60 mark?
under. No,
Okay, yeah.
I don't think he reaches the 60 mark. I think best case scenario he flirts with it. I think he best case scenario high 50s. I could see him finishing with honestly, if I had to give prediction wise 53, 54 homers, I think is where Raleigh finishes with. Um, unfortunately for and this is any player, this is Otani, this is Judge, no matter what, um, every player goes through some kind of slump, and it's not a sustainable thing to keep up. When Judge hit 62 just in 2022, that was like he went on like a 8 to 10 game dry spell of no homers. That's why he
Yeah.
didn't break the record till the last game of the season. And like I said, Raleigh could flirt with it. He could. I don't want to take that away from him, but I do think I do think the cold spell is going to hit soon enough, and I think he'll finish with low 50s with a upside of high 50s.
I think he's gonna break Aaron Judge. No, I'm just kidding. I don't think that. No, he will definitely flirt with it, but I think he does finish 58,
Mhm.
57. I think he'll finish somewhere around there, which
Yeah,
is not. I say that like it's
it's not
not good. That's a career year, and like I said, there's every baseball player would kill to hit 58 home runs
absolutely.
in a season. So hopefully he gets to keep it up, and hopefully the Mariners can kind of stay in this a little bit. There's a couple you mentioned there are a couple games over 500, second place in the ALS, but hopefully they can keep this up. They're right in the middle of a playoff hunt, so good for them.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
Las Vegas, Oakland A's. I mean, Jesus, Oakland A's. How about the Athletic A's? I mean, Athletic A's. Wow, 0 for 2. How about the Las Vegas A's of Sacramento? There we go. Today, shovels broke down in the dirt in Las Vegas as they are beginning to build their stadium and is expected to be ready by 2028 for opening day. 33,000 seat venue, um, and it's expected to be ready. Um, yeah, so here we go. This is actually happening. There was a lot of talk of yeah, the A's are going to Vegas, but there's just so much like red tape and all this other stuff that who knows if you're even going to get to the point where shovels start breaking ground. But this is the first big step in the A's getting their home in Vegas, and yeah, you gotta. It's gonna take a couple years, But man, this is gonna fly by. But um, yeah, I guess this is really happening. You know,
Yeah,
I didn't think it was gonna work in Vegas, and I there was a part of me like, are they even gonna get to Vegas in 2028? Like
yeah,
with all this extra stuff that's going on in the city, and remember there's residents in Las Vegas that do not want the A's there. A pretty good chunk of them don't,
yeah.
but they're coming anyways, and I guess this is really happening. I didn't think we were actually gonna get to this point, but hey, it's closer to me. I guess I could go see A's baseball beginning in 2028, so that should be fun. But they're always going to be Oakland to me, man. Look, I just said it again like 2 minutes ago. They're always going to be the Oakland A's, but who knows? Maybe once I see it, maybe once they're done, like, oh shit, like, maybe I'll get into it a little bit more. But for right now, it still kind of feels weird that they're in this. One, they're not even playing in a major league park right now. They're in Sacramento in a minor league facility. But I guess this is happening. I guess this is really happening.
Yeah, this is, I mean, everybody knows that m- my heart belongs in Oakland for the Athletics, man. I've expressed my displeasure with the move for quite some time now, and it to me it's bittersweet. I mean, I'm doing my best to move on. I've already accepted the fact that they're out of Oakland, things like that. But yeah, kind of mentioning on it, they put gold shovels into so, reading the article, it's on the southeast corner of Las Vegas Boulevard and Tropicana Avenue. So, obviously, Tropicana was the casino that was taken down, resort, whatever the hell it was, in order to make room for the Athletics' new stadium. And Rob Manfred was there. The governor of Nevada was there. So, yeah, it seemed like it was a whole thing, and yeah, it's that one step closer. It's the new ballpark's being built on 9 acres of a 36-acre lot. It'll be accompanied by a future hotel resort with an entertainment complex by the Ballet Corporation. Um, Now, there is one thing that I just want to say
It
about
entertainment complex, fucking Vegas. That's all Las Vegas. What the hell else are you gonna put in there?
it. It is interesting. Yeah, no, I'm excited to see what it comes out to. It could be like up at Yankee Stadium. You have Billy's Sports Bar. You have River Avenue. Down in Philly, you have the Xfinity Live. So it's probably, if I had to guess, something like that. Um, Now, one big thing that I want to take away from this article that I see here, um, John Fisher. Everybody loves that man. He had a few quotes to say, and one of them didn't sit too well with me. Today is a celebration of the start of our new construction process, Fisher said. Now, this is the one that I don't like. And I quote, it's kind of a dream come true for me. The A's have needed a new home for a long time. To look out there, see all these machines and holes that are being dug where home plate is going to be, it's a really positive place for us to be. Um, End of quote. Now, the reason why that didn't sit well with me is no, they didn't need a new home. They had Oakland, man. You had your fans behind you, and the last season that they were in the Coliseum, the fans have they expressed themselves, and good for A's fans for doing that. But no, in my opinion, they did not need a new home. If they needed anything, then you update the Coliseum, whether it's tearing it down and building a new stadium, but you keep them in Oakland. Um,
Or how
so
about putting money into the ball club and
that too, man. Yeah,
trying to spend money to make your team better? For
exactly.
fuck the new home for a second. Like
Yeah.
you had a home at the Coliseum, and you
Yeah.
know if you would have just maybe spent a little money on the team and try to put a better product up there, that we wouldn't be having this conversation right now.
No. No, because A's fans are very passionate. They've been around. I say this all the time. The Athletics are an historic franchise out of Oakland. That's the thing for me. It's um you have the fan base there, but the fact that you don't put a winning product on the field, yeah, well, of course they're going to be pissed off. Of course they're not going to show up because they're finishing fifth place in the AL West every single year and finishing fucking 29th out of 30th in all of baseball. What do you expect, man? Obviously, and if that goes on for too long, yeah, who's going to want to watch athletics baseball at that point? Um, but yeah, no. Overall though, that was the only thing that really didn't sit too well with me. But but yeah, no. It shows that it was kind of that true one last true confirmation that the Athletics are going to Las Vegas, and that's what we got.
And I just mentioned to you a second ago that nobody in that city wants the team, anyways.
No,
You know, and maybe the first year in 2028, there'll be a lot of people that are gonna want to go check it out. Oh, cool, we got a baseball team. All right, I'll check it out. Or hey, you going to Las Vegas for the weekend? All the A's are in town. All right, cool. I want to go see that.
yeah,
But after the first year, I'm very interested to see where it goes from there in terms of the attendance. Because if you're John Fisher, if you're still not putting a good product on the field, and if you're still like, if your team is still not performing well, like I'm sorry, like people are not going to go to those games.
no,
Those are going to be empty, like Miami. To be honest with you,
yeah,
that's the first thing that popped up. Like Miami's a beautiful city. It's a big city. It's a tourist attraction, but nobody goes to that damn stadium because the team is god awful. And
mhm,
it's going to be the same thing here. If the A's, you know, are not winning in a couple years, it's going to be the same thing. And believe me, I've been to Vegas a number of times. There is a million things you could do in that city than go to an A's game. I'm
yeah,
sorry, that's just true. There's a million other things you could do in that city. You know, good and bad. Believe me, I've seen both sides, good and bad. Hookers everywhere, yeah, all that stuff. You know what I mean? Um, but I just, if this fails, like where does John Fisher go from here?
yeah,
Because you can't blame. Oh well, we need a new home. Well, you have it. It's in Vegas. Okay, now what? Nobody's going to your games. So what's the solution now? You know, we know
exactly.
what it is, but he's too cheap to do it.
Yep.
But so the thing that just I don't understand it. Just all right, cool. You got your new home, but you better hope the team's good.
Yeah.
Because that's gonna get old very quickly. And you've
Yeah.
seen it, and I saw it with their hockey team, the Golden Knights. The reason why the Golden Knights have kind of established themselves as like the team in Vegas was
Hmm.
because they were good right away. They
Yeah.
got to the Stanley Cup final in year one, and since then, um, they've continued to put out a good team year after year that made the playoffs. Now, they did get some help from the NHL with the expansion draft that they were basically gifted everybody's like best player available, which I don't want to get into that because we'll be here all night too. But um, you know, the thing why the Golden Knights fit. First of all, they were the first team to go to Vegas. Let's start there. And they
Yeah.
were an original franchise, from Vegas originally. And they were good right away off of the bat. So people wanted to go to the games.
Yeah.
There's nothing that gives me intel that that's going to happen here with the Athletics in a
No.
couple years. And that's the thing that now, maybe, of course, John Fisher doesn't have to worry about it right now because they're in like a 10,000 seat facility in Sacramento.
Yeah.
But when you get to Vegas and if you're not winning, like that's going to get old very quickly. And I just hope there's a backup plan for that.
Yeah. No, absolutely. And I think like now this could totally not be the case, but outside looking in, my thing is like John Fisher believes that if they, once Vegas is here and everything works, that's it. Great. We're good. Well, no.
Yeah.
Because you're just taking the Athletics from Oakland and putting them in Las Vegas. But if you keep the same mindset when it comes to spending money and putting a product on the field, you're worse off in Vegas than you were in Oakland because at least in Oakland you built the fan base. The fan base is there. They're just asking you to put a good product on the field. Well, now you're screwing them over and now you're still not wanting to put a product on the field. So you got to spend money in order to get fans in the seats. And especially now, it might even be harder because you're basically building a new fan base. You got to build a fan base that's based out of Las Vegas. Well, you already had one in Oakland, and the only thing they asked was for you to put a winning product on the field, and you didn't. So that is a big thing, and it's a good point. John Fisher's going to have to back up this new stadium by putting a winning product on the field. You're going to have to start offering players more than your franchise record 3 years, 67 million to Luis Severino, just this past offseason. So, it's going to have to get more than that. So I hope and pray that that you're willing to do that. So we'll see where it goes, but I'm interested. So
Top five things I'd rather do than go to an A's game in Vegas. I'll give you my top five right now. Number one, I'd rather go to the Golden Knights. Number two, I'd rather go see the Raiders if they're playing in the fall. Number three, I'd rather go check out a concert at the Spear. You know, the big round thing with the Spear and stuff. I'd
yep,
rather check that out. Number four, uh, number four, I want to go see the Blue Man Group at the shit. What's the name of the hotel? The Bellagio or whatever it's called. I forget. But the Blue Man Group. I'd rather see that. And then number five, I'd rather just walk the strip. To be honest with you, kind of fuck around a little bit. You know, like, I just gave you five off the top of my head, and that's
yep,
not. That's just scratching the surface.
yeah,
That's just scratching the surface. So, you know, they better be careful because again, you're gonna get somebody like me that's gonna have a fuck. There's gonna be me that's gonna have a choice of going to an A's game. So that's gonna happen in a couple years. You're gonna have a choice of either going to an A's game or go see a good concert at the Spear or wherever or a comedy show. If you're not
yep,
putting a good product, people are gonna go to that comedy show or that concert rather than your games, and that's a problem. But
absolutely.
oh well, I guess we don't have to worry about that um until um until
28.
2028, but we'll see. We shall see. But uh, hopefully this works out. But not off to a good start, just from hearing those quotes of John Fisher. Sounds like he's just going to continue to do it the same as he's always done.
Yeah. Yep.
All right, then. Well, I guess let's do our top five teams. I have my five ready. To be quite honest with you, I have my five ready. I
I
was
do
kind of
too.
skimming through it a little bit, but I think I have my five.
Yeah. Me too.
How do you want to do this? You want to go from 5 to 1 or 1 to 5?
Let's go 5-1.
Okay.
I like 5-1.
All right. Five for me. I'm going the Mets.
Okay. Okay. Um,
They'd
five
be
for me.
higher if it wasn't. If they'd be higher for me if it wasn't for this 2-8 stretch.
No, I get that. I do. For me, this comes into a little bit of bias. I'm going with the Yankees. Um, yeah, they're not playing all that great as of late, but I do think when overall, I do think this Yankees team. Now, I am fully admitting that there might be a little bit of bias in that, but um, I do think that they could pull it together if they truly need to, and I've seen enough out of them. So for me, I'm going with the Yankees at number 5.
Number four, I'm going with the Cubs. Number four, I'm going with the Cubs.
Yeah, we're in two step. I have the Cubs at number 4.
Three, I'm going with the Phillies here. I'm going
Mm,
with the Phillies here. I'm going with the
okay.
Phillies.
Okay. Number 3 for me is the Mets. Yeah, they're
Okay.
on the 2-8 stretch, but this team's too talented, man. And I think if they address that bullpen at the deadline, I think they're even going to be better. So for me, I'm going with the Mets at 3.
Number two, you're defending world champion Los Angeles Dodgers at number two.
Same here. I'm going with the Dodgers at number 2.
And of course, number one, I think we all know this. It's the Detroit Tigers. They are clearly the best team in the sport right now. Top to bottom, they have uh, pretty much an AL, again, repeat Cy Young candidate in Tarek Skubal. And they had a little bit of a rough stretch there, and they're kind of going through it right now, but still, they're the best team in the sport, in my opinion.
Absolutely. Couldn't have said it better. Detroit at number 1.
Now, were there any teams that you were thinking about? Because obviously, I was thinking Yankees. They
Hmm.
just missed the top five. Uh I almost put the Giants in there. Oh,
Yeah.
I thought about the Giants there for a second, but I can't get there. I thought about the Rays. Uh, thought about the Astros too. Seems like
Hmm.
they've been kind of flying under the radar a little bit here again. You know,
Yeah.
They're in first place, and they're not too far back from the Yankees for the second best record in the American League. You know,
Yep.
which
Yeah. Obviously, for me, my big one was the Phillies. I was going between Phillies and Yankees at number five. Again, it goes back into the conversation we had about the Mets and Phillies on, it was either last week or the week before, of this NL East and what that looks like. And I I don't know, man. I need to see a little bit more. Good for them. They're in first place. I get it, but I think I just want a little bit more. So it was between them and the Yankees for number five. But yeah, no, I would probably Houston was the other one. Houston still, I don't know how the hell they do it, but they figure it out, man. First place in the
same
AL
thing with the
West.
Rays. They're doing this again.
Yeah, that I expect. That's
Yeah.
every damn year. The fucking Rays have been a thorn in my side for years now. So, um, yeah. So for me, yeah, for me it was those two teams.
Well, it just popped up into my head right now. How about most disappointing team so far to this point?
Ooh,
Because I have mine.
yeah. So do I. It is your Boston Red Sox.
Okay. Yeah. I was thinking of the other AL East team. I was thinking the Baltimore Orioles.
hmm That's another one too. Yeah. No, for me, I think was the driving factor when we did our previews and I switched the Yankees to the Red Sox. And I think what put that over the edge for me, like, yeah, I get it. Like, the O's for me, they're terrible. Like, yes, completely disappointing. But I think for me, what the driving factor with the Red Sox is that they traded away their star player in the middle of a damn good homestand, and
Yeah.
you get the team back, you get the fans back into it, and now it's kind of like, well, what the hell? Now you're back at square one with your fans. So, no, for me, it's definitely Boston, man. Good for me, but overall, to answer the question, definitely Boston for me.
How about most surprising team so far
Mm,
this season?
that's a good one.
I think it's the Giants. I think the Giants have to be right up there for me.
J-
Maybe
yeah,
maybe that's a little too close for me because I'm up late watching Giant games at 10 p.m. when everybody on the East Coast is asleep. But I was not expecting the Buster Posey led Giants to be this good this quickly.
yes,
And now they've added a top five hitter in the game in Rafael Devers. And
hmm
there's no doubt in my mind that Buster Posey is going to go for it at the deadline, and get some help. I think this Giants team has been the most surprising story in baseball so far. And maybe in San Francisco, fans would tell me, "Oh, well, we've it's only a matter of time before this team was going to start clicking. Look at the moves they've made with extending Matt Chapman and bringing in Willie Adames, and Logan Webb when he's right is a top 10 pitcher in the sport." But I just didn't think the Giants were going to be that good this quickly under
yeah,
Buster Posey. So I think they're right at the top as the most surprising team so far this season for me.
yeah. To be a little bit different from you, I did also want to throw in two other disappointing ones for me that could have made the case. The Atlanta Braves, that's a big one for me, and the Arizona
Yep,
Diamondbacks.
Diamondbacks. Yep, that's a good one.
Those are very disappointing for me. Now, to be a little bit different from you with the Giants, because I do agree with you on the Giants, I'm going to give you another team that I think is surprising, and that's the St. Louis Cardinals.
Yep, I figured you were gonna say that. I was thinking of
Yes,
that.
42 and 36. I understand they're in third place in the NL West, but they are only 4.5 games out. The fact that this St. Louis team is over 500, has a 538 winning percentage. This team, they're on a 6-4 record, but you got to remember, just a little bit ago, Matthew Liberatore looked like a NL Cy Young candidate. Um, this team was figuring it out, and they went on a winning stretch. Now they slowed down since then, but I do think if they pick it back up, they could make some noise in that division. This season is far from over, and with the way that division fluctuates a lot, there's St. Louis could very well be in the conversation towards the end of the year. So yeah, I think St. Louis and San Francisco are the two big ones for me.
Another surprising team too. Now, again, we kind of didn't know how the season was going to go, but I am happy the Toronto Blue Jays are currently in a playoff position right now. I
Uh,
thought they were gonna. I thought the way they started the season, they were just gonna completely fall out of it and just be bad. But they
they're in
turned it
there.
around, and they have the second spot in the American League wild card right now, and I'm happy for them. I like that. I like the Blue Jays. I
They're
do.
only, they're only 4 games out, man. 4 games
Another
out.
disappointing team for me too. Well, two of them, and because one of them was my American League pick,
Texas.
Texas Rangers. What the fuck? I was expecting a little better than this.
Yeah.
2 games under 500. I thought I at the beginning of the season, if you go back and listen to all the previews and stuff, I made it seem like the Rangers were going to be this juggernaut team this
Yeah.
season, and they were going to win 95 plus games and be your American League representative in the World Series, and that just hasn't panned out at all. And
Yeah.
that's with Jacob DeGrom looking like a good pitcher again. That's the most disappointing thing about this, is that Jacob DeGrom, you're seeing the flashes of when he was dominant with the Mets. I
Yeah.
think that's the thing that's been so disappointing about this Rangers team, and they got nothing out of Jock Peterson so far. He's batting under the Mendoza line. That's
Yeah.
how bad it's been. But and then the other team is the Kansas City Royals. I thought they were going to be a lot better.
Yeah.
I thought they were going to be a lot better than this. I believe Mikey picked Bobby Wood Jr. to win MVP this year too in the
Yep.
American League. I think I did too, actually. So I'm calling myself out for that too.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's a good one. And I definitely agree with you on the Rangers.
All right, last one here. How about team that you expected to be bad?
That is bad.
Yeah, that you're not surprised. I
Okay.
got mine. The Angels. There we go. I can shove it down their throats again. There, the Angels made something. No,
Okay.
just kidding. No, the Rockies. I knew they were going to be bad, but I didn't think they were going to be this god awful.
Um, you know what? See, and they have a winning record. They're not bad. I fuck, man.
It,
That's a tough one.
is it okay to say this? I thought I'm disappointed with the Washington Nationals.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
thought they were going to be better than this.
me too.
I didn't think they'd be in a position to make the postseason. Or I let me try that again. I didn't think they would be. I didn't think they would make the postseason or anything like that this season.
Yeah.
But I thought they would be better than 32 and 46 at this
Yeah.
point in the season.
Mhm.
I'm disappointed in the Washington Nationals. I think it's time to say that. They've been
Yes.
hovering around here for a little bit now.
Yeah. No, that is a good one. For me, it's tough to say this, and please take this with a grain of salt because they are 40 and 38 at the moment. However, I'm saying this because they're in fourth place, and I don't see that changing. And that's the Cincinnati Reds. Um, I didn't expect big things out of them this year. I think I had them third finishing. I mean that's it's kind of a stretch. They're over 500. But
They're the
I
darlings of the offseason every fucking year for the
yeah,
last like 3 seasons.
pretty
You know,
much. Yeah.
everybody has them as a dark horse to make the playoffs and stuff. And
Yeah.
they're doing this again where they're going to win their 85 games, but they're going to miss the playoffs again.
Yeah. So I'll go with the Reds. Take it with a grain of salt because they do have a winning record right now. They're 2 games over 500. So take it how you want. But again, I think the fourth place in that division is kind of driving that for me.
Out of the 5 teams you mentioned in your top five, one last thing, and then we'll get off of this. But I've been waiting to ask this. Top
Yeah.
5 teams that you mentioned on your list.
Hmm.
Which 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 one of the five could you expect not to be top five in the end of the season?
Yankees for me.
Okay.
I
Okay.
hope I'm wrong, but
Yeah. Oh yeah. Of course.
if I had to guess, it would probably be the Yankees. Now I am
Now I'm
gonna
not. Now I'm not saying that they just completely drop off and they're not
no,
making like the.
absolutely.
I mean, like, hey, yeah, they're top 10, but they're
Yeah,
not one of the top 5 best teams in the sport.
I think out of the five, I would definitely say the Yankees, depending on what they do with the All Star break with the trade deadline. But if I'm gonna take my bias completely off of it, and I'll do you one better and have one through four, which were the Tigers, Dodgers, Mets, and Cubs. Um, I think it might be the Cubs, man. Out of those four because they did it last year,
Yep.
and I hope and pray that I'm wrong, because I love what I'm seeing out of the Cubs this year. I think they're fun and exciting, man. But if I had to guess out of the four, it'd probably be the Cubs.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. Uh, but to be different, wouldn't be surprised if the Mets completely just do that thing they always do, where
Mets
they
gonna
just
Met.
completely they fall apart at the end of the season again, where
No,
they're
I
scratching and clawing just to get into the postseason again
yeah, no
after
for sure.
having this good start. You know,
Yeah,
wouldn't surprise me if they just you know kind of maybe really continue to fall off here a little bit.
yeah. No, I unfortunately I could see it. Yeah,
All right, well that was fun. Uh,
absolutely.
let's do our teams now. I will touch on the Dodgers first, just because I just went through a damn 10-game homestand with them. Uh, very proud of this Dodger team. Very proud. I told you at the beginning, like 2 weeks ago, they had the Padres in San Diego for 3 games. They had the Giants at home for three, and then they had the Padres for four. I told you they had to go no worse than 7-3. They went exactly 7-3, and they created a little bit of separation between themselves and the other two teams. So kudos to them. I'm happy that they were able to show up. And, because like I said, this was really the first time on their schedule all season that they had to kind of show up for these games a little bit. And I was kind of interested to see, all right, well, are these guys going to show up, or are they just going to treat these games like, oh, well, these are games in June. They don't mean anything. Like, if we win them, great. If not, we'll be okay. But the Dodgers didn't do that. They won every series, and, you know, Padres almost melted down there in the last game after having a 5-0 lead. And the Dodgers had runners on second and third uh, in a 5-3 game, and the Dodgers almost tied that game too, you know. But um, proud of them. And then it looked like they were going to lose 2 out of 3 against the Washington Nationals, and that momentum that they had from the homestand was just going to fizzle out, and they were going to lose 2 out of 3. And then Max Muncy hits 2 home runs, has 7 RBIs, and the Dodgers crush them 13-7 yesterday. So proud of my Dodgers. Very proud of my Dodgers. They are currently, at the moment, I believe they are currently 3.5 games in front of the Giants for first place. The Padres are 5 games back, and the Diamondbacks are 8 games back. So there's a little bit of breathing room there. You're not. I know it's not a comfortable lead. I would like to see it increase a little bit more, but so far, very proud of this Dodger team. The only thing that I will pick on them about, they got to give Yoshinobu Yamamoto some run support. He is now 6-6 on the season, and he has completely taken himself out of the National League Cy Young Award voting to no fault of his own, a little bit. But the main part is he's not getting any run support from this Dodger team anytime he steps foot on the mound. You know, Yamamoto last pitched Thursday. That one game they lost to San Diego. Dodgers only scored 3 runs. And that was coming in between from scoring 4 the night before and scoring 6 the next day. That can't happen. You can't do that to your ace, man. You gotta try to way to get some runs. Some more runs on the board here. But um, emotional series last week against the Padres. I'm sure a lot of you were either watching the games, and I'm sure you saw that little quote video that I put out Thursday night. I stand by it. I will double down on it. That's a dirty team with a dirty manager and a dirty group of players. I will stand by that. Listen, I like Fernando Tatis Jr. I would like him a lot more if he wasn't in that uniform. But I'm sorry. He's got to learn to get out of the way. I'm sorry. He does. He's got to learn to get out of the way of those pitches. Shohei Ohtani can take a one. Shohei Ohtani got a 100-mile-an-hour fastball, and he was able to turn around and take it off his back. And then, but then you look at Fernando Tatis Jr. and then he takes a 93 mile an hour fastball off of the hands or the wrist, and then he can't get out of the way. Like seriously, like listen, you gotta learn to get out of the way. At least try. Like Tatis doesn't even try, you know. So it was not fun seeing Mike Schill bitch all week about everything. That was not fun. Listen, I know Dave Roberts had a little tantrum there Tuesday night and got thrown out, but when the other managers bitching about everything, I think Dave Roberts is due that a little bit, you know. But overall, Dodgers were still able to take both series against the Padres. But I'm telling you, man, they gotta learn to just play baseball. Seriously, like most of these altercations between the Dodgers and Padres, not most of them, almost all of them, with these little altercations between the Dodgers and Padres, they've been started by them. You know, whether it was Manny Machado or Trent Grisham, you know, or Jerickson Profar or AJ Green, the manager of the Padres at the time. It is never the Dodgers that are starting this stuff. It's never the Dodgers. It's always the Padres that are just poking you with a stick and trying to engage you to fight. And the Dodgers don't do that. They just play baseball, and it showed. You know, like I said, the Dodgers took the series in San Diego 2 weeks ago, and they took 3 out of 4 here in LA last week. You know, like that. Just Padres just got to learn how to play baseball, man, and it's just it's just not fun baseball to watch. It's just not sometimes, you know, and it gets annoying. But the benches did clear Thursday night, and it almost cleared again because then Otani got hit in the back, and Kershaw was ready to go out there and freaking kill somebody. He had 1 foot over the railing, which I don't know how the hell he did that without hurting anything else. But speaking of Clayton Kershaw, he is 8 strikeouts away from 3,000, and I can't believe that he is going to get this. I'm so excited. I hope that it's done at Dodger Stadium. His next start, I believe, will be in Colorado this week, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, he will pitch on Thursday. So if everything goes as planned, he is not going to pitch in Kansas City. And watch me be wrong here, but I don't think he'll get all 8 strikeouts in Colorado. Either he tells himself that, or the organization tells him, "Hey, we have this whole thing planned for you at home. Just don't get the 8 strikeouts in Colorado today," which I don't think that's going to happen. But he should get his 3,000 strikeout at home at Dodger Stadium between the White Sox or the Astros. And man, I can't wait to see it. I cannot wait to see it. I'm going to be emotional. And I know I'm going to be emotional, and it hasn't even happened yet. But hopefully he could get these last 8. Hopefully he could get them at home. And, you know, that's the last thing in Clayton Kershaw's resume that he's missing, the 3,000 strikeouts. He has everything else, the MVPs, the Cy Young, the championships. He's got everything. Now we're just missing the 3,000. He doesn't need it to be a first ballot or a Hall of Famer or anything like that, but it just looks so much nicer. It just sounds so much nicer when you're reading off the plaque.
Get the
So
round number on the baseball reference page.
exactly. And he's 8 away from that, and hopefully he doesn't get all 8 against the Rockies. Hopefully he can save it. Hopefully we could get him down to like maybe if we can get him to 2 or 3, we're going to be in the driver's seat
Yeah.
for when we come back to Dodger Stadium for the week of 4th of July. But
Mhm.
overall, to put a bow on everything, happy with my baseball team. They were able to answer the bell and compete against teams that were chasing them. And for your reward, the schedule is going to get a little easier now up until the for the remainder until we get to the All-Star break. So hopefully the Dodgers can take advantage of the Rockies and the Royals coming up this week and just get healthy. Just get healthy. The reinforcements are coming. Roki Sasaki's thrown his second. Um, he's thrown for the second straight day. I like that. Tyler Glass now completed his first rehab assignment in Oklahoma City. Blake Trinan is set to probably go out on a rehab assignment soon, and Blake Snell should be pitching to batters again any day. So the reinforcements are coming, man, and I'm getting excited, but we're not quite there yet. But overall, Dodgers are staying above water, and they were able to create some separation between the Giants and the Padres, and I'm happy about that. There's my Dodgers update.
Very nicely said. Yeah. To basically, I mean, I'm not going to go too much in depth with it. Last week with the Yankees, they they were in the middle of a really bad stretch there, and they continued for a couple of days. They lost 3 out of 4 to the Angels, which is just not at all acceptable. You got to win those games. They finished with a 6 game losing streak, and then they are currently on a let me look. I believe yes, 3-7 in the last 10. It is not where you want to be. They have won the last two. They took 2 out of 3 from Baltimore, and currently starting actually mid game against the Cincinnati Reds right now. That is pretty much a recap of their schedule. Now they sit at 45-32, first place. Um, Still somehow after going through that rough stretch, they are still 2.5 games up on the Tampa Bay Rays. Um, yeah, that's kind of your own doing. You gotta create more separation here. Um, it is a 6 game difference between first and fourth place in this division. If you do not get your shit in gear now, there's Red Sox go on a heater, Toronto goes on a heater, Tampa Bay continues their winning ways. You're could very easily be fourth place in this division within 6 games. It's not something that sits well with me, and I know this team's better than this. They've showed it. But I think it starts with the offense, man. It really does. This offense got to pick things up because I'm going to tell you what I am happy about, and that is this pitching staff. Clark Schmidt has been an absolute dog. Okay, his last 2 starts, he went 7 innings. I'm sorry, he actually went into the 8th inning. His second to last start, and then his last start, he had 7 no-hit innings. That is shit that we know Clark Schmidt can get to, but he needs to just he's still young. He hasn't completely figured it out quite yet. But absolutely love to see it. Max Fried, Carlos Rodon, they're doing their thing. And tonight they called up Alan Winans, he's pitched in the majors before, um, but he pitched to a 0.90 ERA through like 100 innings in AAA. This guy's, I mean, it seems like he figured something out down there in Scranton because he is currently through 3 innings against the Cincinnati Reds right now on 24 pitches. That's pretty damn good. So obviously, like I said, we're in top four right now. Yankees hold a 1-0 lead on the Reds, so we'll see where that goes. Yeah, I mean, overall, they got to play better. That's kind of what it comes down to. I don't like what I've totally been seeing. Um, but yeah, like again, first place. That's the big thing here. Just create the separation between the division, and you'll keep fans happy. So I'm excited. I'm really excited for the deadline coming up. It kind of makes or breaks this Yankees team. They've proven that they statistically second best team in the American League. But I want better than that. I want this team to go out and act like. I mean, every team wants their team to act like the Dodgers. So go out, get whoever the hell you can, and make this team into a World Series competitor, and go from there, man. But yeah, overall first place, just start playing better, which they have been in the last few games. So we'll see where it goes. But as of right now, I'm kind of pissed off with that last 10 games, man. 3-7. That's not acceptable. So that's where I'm at on the Yankees.
And there you go. There you go. The recaps of both clubs, and I think that's gonna do it all. I think that's gonna be it for episode 133.
Yeah, I think so, man. We covered a lot. We had some fun with the top fives. That
Yes,
was fun. Yeah, really excited, man. We're almost halfway through the season. This is crazy. We're gonna be in July very shortly, so
I
uh,
know, crazy.
absolutely crazy stuff.
Speaking of crazy, with everything going on in the world right now, I hope we have an episode next week. To be honest with you,
You you were reading my brain, man.
I
Crazy.
hope we still have a podcast next week. You know,
Yeah, let's hope and pray, man.
because I am ready to turn this podcast into a 24-hour. Here's your update on where we are at the world at this moment. I am prepared to do that. You know, but no, just kidding. Uh, yeah, hopefully things start to cool down in the world. You know,
Absolutely.
but for right now, just continue to look out for our stuff and shout out to the 400 new plus followers we have from that damn video of that Cardinals broadcaster saying a slur on live TV. Thanks,
Yeah,
and welcome to
appreciate
all
it.
our new followers. Hope you stick around.
Absolutely. We always welcome new faces in, and yeah.
Yeah, crazy, crazy. If you go back, I'm not gonna listen. We're not gonna do a full deep dive on this, but if you go back and listen to the video, the way he says that word, that doesn't sound like it doesn't sound like that's his first time saying it. To be honest with you,
No, it does not.
so
Not at all.
but again, we're not gonna go further. We're not gonna go more into that because then we'll really be in trouble here. But
We're
uh,
treading waters.
yeah, exactly. So I'm gonna get us back to safety here. Thank you for always listening. Thank you for supporting us, and yeah, we'll see you next week. I'll still be here. I'll still be off. So we'll be
Absolutely.
right back here next week.
Absolutely.
Adios.